So we're doing that. We've got an event space upstairs that's about the same size as this that has a demonstration kitchen that's attached so that we can continue to further this mission of teach people how to cook seasonally. We have Florida Hospital book time with us to teach caregivers how to cook meals for the elderly. So anything having to do with food, we're trying to do that and link it in with art and stuff. We also are doing an urban farm out front. But if you ask the city, it's a vegetable garden. And that's it. That's kind of what we're doing. So thank you.
So I guess I'll start out with a couple of questions. I think you answered most of mine with the presentation, but the first one is just how did you get the inspiration behind the East End Market? Like, what really sparked the idea?
Yeah, that's a good question. We finished what would have been our third festival. So we did the first Winter Park Harvest Festival in 2010, and I did it for a lot of reasons, but one of them was I wanted to try and do an all local Thanksgiving, and I plotted out how to get to all the farms, and it would have been exhaustive. And so I was like, what if we just brought all of those farmers together 4 days before Thanksgiving and let everybody get to meet them and buy the food? So we did that, and in that we also did cooking classes and how to make sauerkraut and jam and music and stuff like that. Well, it's a great event, and then to distill that down to one night thing we do every Monday night, we do the Audubon Park Market. But if you miss that night, you're kind of out of luck to get this food, or to come in contact with it, or have to go visit the farms. So after last year, we said, what if we did a small scale one? So actually where Red Light is in Audubon Park, we looked at that space, which is probably, we take everything out of it a little bit bigger than this. And we could have fit maybe 6 or 7 vendors in there, but it just was too small. So I happen to be in real estate. So when we looked at this building, I liked it from a real estate perspective anyway. I like Audubon Park, it's up and coming, it's unique, it's funky. I had a lot of opportunity with the building if this grand scheme didn't work out. So we just thought, hey, we can do the market part, but it also gives us the ability to do all of the other things we're good at, and then further changing food culture in Central Florida now that we have a venue that we don't have to rent a $3,000 tent and expensive porta potties, and we have a home now that other people can benefit from too. So that was kind of the inspiration.
Yeah, I was wondering if your real estate background played into.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think, what is cool is that this is not my project. I mean, it is. I mean, I'm the one taking the largest risk, but it really is, all of us were in this food scene, and I just happened to be a real estate developer. It's like we really are ready to graduate, we need space, and it just happened to be that one of us, me, was a real estate developer, and I was like, if I sign on the bottom line, would you guys also sign and come along? And so that it really grew out very organically. I certainly did not set out to do this.
It's really cool. Yeah. And so what are some of the goals for the East End Market? Like, what would you say, 1 or 2, when it's all up and running, you kind of want to...
Yeah, to be cool. I mean it. I go to really awesome cities, and we deserve something like this. We deserve a place that we can be proud of. When you bring people in town that are touring and visiting, that it's the top of your list to come check out, because it's great food, it's great people. You're going to learn something potentially. You're going to see corn growing in the front yard of a major commercial building in Orlando. But you also have great conversations, and you're going to be in a place that is hopefully a gravitational force for the community. So I think bodies in there is the goal, so that we can continue this conversation. It is about business. I mean, I wouldn't have done this for free. But the idea of having this in Orlando means I don't have to move to Asheville again, or Miami, or Charleston. Like, we have the talent in town to do something really great, and it wasn't until the last 5 years that I even believed it. And so it's nice to know that I can raise my kids here and still push culture forward in Central Florida.
Yeah, that's really cool. And you kind of touched on being a social entrepreneur and how, it's good to make money but then also do something good. So I guess touching on also a little bit of the franchising aspect, a lot of people in business will say, like, well, if they didn't want that McDonald's there, people wouldn't shop at it.
Right.
So like, how do you kind of confront that and say, well, they need to be more in tune with the community, or?
Yeah, so the high fructose corn syrup is such a great key for this conversation, in that, of course, high fructose corn syrup in moderation is not bad for you. but nothing you get on the shelf has a moderated amount of it. So when you get a soda, you're already getting too much of it. So our job is to not browbeat. Our job is not to scare people. And like, for instance, I mean, I'm sure some of you have seen Food Inc. or some of the films are showing you how terrible the food industry is. Yes, it is. And when you pull the veil back and you realize Mr. Wizard is back there shoving pigs into these tiny little spaces, you go, something's wrong with this. My job in Winter Park is to find a way to be palatable to the hipster by being authentic enough and transparent enough, but also to the yuppie soccer mom who just wants healthier food for their kid and doesn't want to see that stuff. I want to put enough bait in the water to draw them in and then let them self-discover. I don't want to be a proselytizer. I don't want to be on a soapbox scaring people to do what's right. I want to entice them to do one step in the right direction. So like organic is a great example. Like, is everything going to be organic? Well, no. I want people eating vegetables first. Let's get them to eat vegetables first. I mean, the stuff in our market is going to be better than organic. It's not, there's nothing on it. An organic pesticide is still meant to kill something. Don't put anything on it that should kill anything. So I guess what I'm saying is, it's all advertising again. It's all how you say, it's all, until the convenient choice is the healthy choice, we're going to continue to fight this battle. Until you can pull through a fast food restaurant and pick up, at that same price, at that same convenience, you'll never compete on price. Then we have to compete on building the knowledge and understanding that this tomato is a completely different product than the one you get at the supermarket. The one in the supermarket was bred to be picked green, rolled down a conveyor belt, shipped across country, gassed in a ripening room, and given to you red. It did not turn red on the vine. This, on the other hand, was hand-picked a few hours ago. It's still warm and it's tasty. And it's totally divergent, but it's so cool. The color on heirloom tomatoes, so the oranges, the greens, anything not red, that gene is what gives tomatoes its flavor. So when you go to the supermarket and you see perfectly red tomatoes, they've bred out of tomatoes the very gene that gives them their flavor. So you're buying this beautifully, perfect tomato that has absolutely no flavor. And this one, because it has green on the rims, is so much more flavorful, but it doesn't look like what they're going for on the shelf. So, interesting. These are the kind of things I'm saying. I'm not going to go out there and go, your tomato should have green shoulders. Let them discover that for themselves. But it's a multifaceted problem. We do work up in Eatonville, and the food that those kids are served during the summer, because they get free reduced lunches, they're happy to eat. So in talking with guys like Dave Krebko at Second Harvest Food Bank, he goes, John, if a Frito-Lay's truck pulls up and says, we have a whole truck full of Frito-Lay's, and there's hungry people there, how do I make that value decision? I'm sorry, you can't have this food that'll fill your tummy and keep you going for another day, versus it's not healthy enough. So it's a huge problem, and we're trying to pick our niche and move the ball down the court a little bit. So, yeah.
First, I love your philosophy on that, because it takes a lot of emotional management when you understand those things about food to not force it onto people. So that sounds like that'll be great for your culture there. But I guess my main question is, I follow the kind of food counterculture, and it is very spread out, and it seems as if, you probably feel very confident about that market in Audubon Park, because, like you said, there is that kind of, I don't know how to describe it, but a very active counterculture mindset there. So you think that's probably one of the ideal areas for growth as far as these types of businesses?
Yeah, I think, here's the deal. I would have done this earlier if I felt like a produce store could survive between a dry cleaner and a nail salon. It doesn't work. There has to be that critical mass of, yes, I can get produce, but now I can also get bread and butter and blah, blah, blah. So this would not work everywhere. And it's working in Audubon Park because I can do a couple things in Audubon Park. I'm close enough to Winter Park to attract folks like my mom. They're like, ooh, I hang out with this guy that has full arm tattoos. But she doesn't want to do that all the time. She wants to come in, be around it and tell her friends, at the country club that I was around some really hip people, but it freaks her out to be around all the time.
Yeah.
Where the hipsters go, oh, I was around this cool CEO. Can you believe he was here? And he was actually a really nice guy. And people are cool, but we dress certain ways and we assume that they're not. And so the biggest thing for me at the Harvest Festival is seeing an attorney friend of mine stomping his foot next to a family where the mother and the mother and the father have full-arm tattoos, spacers in their ears, the kids are barefoot running around with, doing hula hoops, and they're both having a great time. People are people, and food is this great galvanizing force. So Audubon is a great sandbox for this, and I don't have to really obey any rules. I looked at doing, when that building came, so I saw that building, I put a contract down on it as a backup, I'm negotiating a contract, I'm like, sorry, someone came in and signed it, sight unseen. So I'm like, right, there goes my dream. Like, it's gonna turn into some crappy hostel or some bank or something, and that whole opportunity is lost. So I started looking at doing it over here in Winter Park, or over there's a piece of property near Ravenous Pig. My social capital, who my network is not Winter Park. I'm there, I'm the son and daughter of a well-known family. My nose is clean, I serve on boards in Winter Park, but that is more millennial. Okay, so if I was going to do another millennia, I could do that and attract that crowd. But those people are not quite ready for what we're doing. We need to be in a place where people are a bit more progressive, read Huffington Post, are consuming media that's not mainstream, and are open to these kind of conversations, but close enough that my mom, the childhood mother of my friends, can come and feel welcomed. And so there are other feasibility studies for other projects like this in Central Florida, and I haven't gotten behind any of them. Because it's if you build it, will they come? I'm building it because they were already here. And so there's why did I see this on? Some entrepreneur was talking about, he didn't create something new, I know what it was Buddy Dyer. Buddy Dyer and Craig Usler were talking about the Creative Village that they're building downtown and saying, we're not building this hoping to attract new businesses. We're building because they're already here, they want a place to call home. And that's what this is. This is the gravitational force of all of these individual companies with their social media and their marketing clout, and then me as the parent company. I would never do marketing for my shopping centers. Also about millennia, once it's leased, the management takes care of it. We're here, I'm very much involved because I care about the end zone. So I spend our money, our profit to promote these businesses because it pushes the ball down the court. That's a good question. I think it's the right place at the right time. Yes?
John, I've known John since he was very young. I'm just so excited for you. You're so talented, and I'm old, and I'm so excited about this project because we travel all over, and I think your timing is so perfect. You've got your Whole Foods and Fresh Market, and that just kind of introduced people a little bit. The farmers market has done great. This takes it to a whole new level, and I think people are so ready for this, and it only will grow in so many great ways. And I agree about not pushing the healthy nut. You don't have to. Once you're there in that setting and you taste the cheese and the bread, oh my goodness, you all of a sudden you want to do your grocery shopping there. You want to go just like the Monday market. Right. Once you've experienced it, you've got them. You're already there. Really, it's just I think it's going to be so fantastic. And I'm so excited about it. And I'm old. We've got friends.
You're not old.
They got we do. So I'm really, it's going to be so much fun. I'm really proud of you. You've done an outstanding job.
You mentioned having worked on a documentary. What was the name of that film?
What is that called? It was 2007. I think it's on Vimeo. It's called Local Court. It was the word of the year in 2007. So Merriam-Webster Dictionary adds a few words to the dictionary each year, and it was so used that year that they added local court. And it was just a self-explanatory on that. So it's there. I think actually if you go to our website, the local focus, FOLKUS, if you search on that site, it'll pull it up too. Yeah.
When going to commercial developments with mall money and those kind of things, what was it like kind of balancing the social impact while also keeping the profit and kind of looking at how the value will do, what it will do to the community surrounding there?
This project?
Or
the
development of the
surrounding. It had to make financial sense because my dad is my bank and we have a very traditional mortgage. He's a guy that's been in real estate for 35 years. So he's the hardest critic. He hasn't been critical at all. He's been very helpful and on a real estate perspective, does this make sense? So it had to make sense, period, for him to even consider backing me. It had to, and for me, I've never been in this much debt in my life. Like, you know, I mean, I have, but with partners, and so it's kind of different when there's other people to vote with you. When it's just you, it's diarrhea. I mean, it's a whole different thing. So I had to know that it made sense from a business perspective. So for literally during the time of the contract, when you have a contract, you have a period of due diligence. You're checking to see if there's contamination on the property or the building's going to fall apart or whatever. And really at that point, you can sort of pull out for any reason and just, you forfeit your deposit. So I had a $5,000 deposit, which is a small price to pay for the ability to pull back from a possible multi-million-dollar screw up. So I did a ton of work. And I'd wake up in the middle of the night going, oh, I didn't think about calculating the, expenses for the lights in the parking lot. Looking at all my old projects, looking at old performance. And so the numbers had to make sense first for me to even consider doing it. Then when you talk about, we're doing something completely radical. I mean, the city's never going to